I think if you do something you love, you don't need like, I want to do it to get rich now, 'Cause I love doing this. I love creating new products. I love creating new flavors. I love getting new clients. I love hearing feedback from our clients that the life is so much better now. I swear to you, we have clients that write to us on Instagram. I love Kefir Marusia. This is my reason to wake up in the morning and live this life. And some people like write us emails and like, oh, I want to thank you for your product because for the last 7 years I had horrible digestive system, so I couldn't leave the house because when I left the house I would have to eat outside and I couldn't eat anything outside. Somebody recommended me Kefir Marusia. I started drinking it. I'm happy again. I want to live again. I'm alive again. I started going to parties. I started socializing. Basically, like, you saved my life. Kefir, a kefir product saved a life. That's amazing. I love doing this. I wouldn't want to be like a millionaire overnight and not have Kefir Marusia. What would I be doing? Just laying on a yacht with all this money, I love doing this. It's so exciting. It's so cool.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast, episode 132. In this episode, I speak with Anastasia Starostenko. Anastasia is an entrepreneur and CEO of Marusia Kefir, and we had an incredible conversation this evening. I can't wait for you to check it out. To watch this episode, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@thesamdeverpodcast. To listen to this podcast, be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Here's my conversation with Anastasia. Well, Anastasia Starostenko, welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast.
Thank you.
This has been a long time coming right here.
Yes. I planned it several months before. We're just doing it now.
Yeah, and shout out to our mutual contact, Hadari.
Thank you, Hadari, for hooking us up.
Yeah, and I know we've been talking, and you're based in Mexico City, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you'd come to LA, we'd set this up, and sure enough, you're like, hey, I'm here this time, and can you do this night? You're like, I'm there. I'm like, here we are.
Yeah, I love a physical podcast. Like, somebody asked me, like, why don't you do it like on Zoom? I honestly hate even watching Zoom podcasts. It's a completely different energy,
Yeah. You can't. I'm complete agreement with you. Like, you can't beat the in-person exchange, the energy, the ideas. Like, virtual has its place for when you need it.
Of course.
But we want to do it the right way here.
Yeah, because I wanted to try the things we're going to talk about. Yeah, it's completely different.
Beautiful products here. Like, we'll just mention that right out the bat. What are we looking at here? What all do we got?
So I think the podcast is going to be interesting to anyone interested in healthy food, entrepreneurship, and interesting stories of other entrepreneurs like mine that I will share whatever you want me to share, almost. But so the kefir is the product that I produce. It's a fermented milk product with probiotics, yeasts, and bacteria, probiotic bacteria and yeast, which makes a perfect combination to ferment milk. It's full of it's very, very good for your gut health, which we're going to speak about today too. So these are small, like personal.
These would be like on the go?
Yeah, on the go. It's just going to the market. I'm going to launch it like next month. So now you cannot buy them anywhere yet. In Mexico, important to mention, everywhere in Mexico you can buy it in Walmart and City Market and all the big Chedraui. I don't know if somebody travels to Mexico in all the big retail stores.
That's amazing. And it's Marusia?
Yeah, Marusia. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Marusia, yeah. And I was telling you when we were talking on the phone, I'm a huge probiotic. I actually like a lot of raw dairy products as well. So I'm big on gut health. Yeah. So when I was looking at your stuff, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship, health, and fitness talk, I'm all for it. So
yeah. Do you drink kefir?
I have before. I haven't drank it a lot lately, but yeah, there is a company that they make a product that I drink the raw kefir. I've drank before. Along with raw milk, but I love it. It's delicious. It's very, I don't know. I've hopefully maybe get to try one of these here.
Oh, you can try them right now if you want.
Right now on the spot?
Yeah, I recommend you to try this one first. Try them both, but this one is the most popular flavor, just berries, mixed berries flavor. And this one is hazelnut, which is...
Now, what exactly is kefir?
So kefir is fermented milk. You take milk and you ferment it with a combination of bacteria and yeast that they eat the lactose. And my God, I should have prepared in English because I know the speech in Spanish so well. I'll have to translate.
I'm just going to find out right now.
Yeah.
So just
It's
fermented milk.
It's a lactic acid fermentation. It's fermented milk. Yeah, the fermentation is called lactic acid fermentation. It's pretty much lactose free. Yes.
That's tasty.
It's tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of tangy compared to yogurt. It's very similar to yogurt, much more beneficial than yogurt, and the taste is a bit more acidic because of the bacteria, more acidic bacteria.
I like the thickness too.
It's thick. It has no sugar. Obviously, I use stevia.
And you know what? I was going to bring that up when I was going on your website. You said no added sugar, and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
One of my pet peeves of health products and nutrition products is when they go, oh, it's the best this and the best that, and then you look and there's 10 added sugars into it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm just like, you just defeated the entire purpose
Yes,
of what you're trying to do.
Yes. It is so funny, like at Expo West, I'm here for the Expo West, which is like one of the biggest shows for healthy food in the world. It's amazing. But then we're walking around and you're eating all the time and then you feel bloated at the end of the day. Like healthy food, you can create something and like take out of it, like take, like fat out of it. That's how it's a healthy product when it's not, because it has a bunch of other stuff, like additives, like sweetener. Artificial sweeteners are horrible for you, actually, even worse than sugar. Like, which ones,
Someone told me once, they said sugar has 1,000 different names. So even though it doesn't say sugar,
yeah,
it's just as bad as sugar.
Yeah.
Or if not, can I try this one too?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you for bringing these. This is...
Personally, Sam, I'd like to see you drink all 4 of those.
Yes, you're going to have to drink some too. So.
Yeah, Eric, you're going to have to get in the game over here.
I'll try a sip. I'm not big on dairy, but I'll definitely try it.
Well, you do a vegan one too, right?
Yeah, yeah. Didn't bring it here because it's very perishable. It's more perishable.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like super perishable.
Huh.
So some people just love this this flavor.
Do I need to shake it at all?
Yeah. Actually, you
bit.
have to shake it. It's gonna be more like thicker. But some people love this flavor so much; they're just crazy about it. But anyway, so artificial sweeteners are even worse for you than sugar.
Yes,
because
true.
they make you jittery and like they make you want more. Yeah,
It's really good.
Yeah, you like this one better. Yeah,
I like them both, but because it's 2 different things. If I want that bear, hey Eric, can I get a?
That is not getting cut.
It's funny because we were talking about pointing things out. But thank you. You have my back. Wouldn't it have been funny if you just would have let me go this entire?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just your new campaign. Like, remember the Got Milk campaign?
Of course I remember. I was gonna use all these shorts
Got
for
Marusia,
my campaign. Yeah. To promote my brand, yeah.
No, I love it. And then this is more.
This is just natural flavor.
Okay,
which
natural
is actually
flavor.
the most popular one. And this is my most popular product, which is natural kefir in a glass bottle.
Oh, I like the glass bottle. And that's something you could probably mix with a lot of stuff. You can make protein shakes with that. Yeah. You could put that in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I'll leave it for you if you want. You can make your smoothie.
Wow.
You can make protein smoothies with it. You can do whatever you want. It's great. Yeah.
So on your website, I noticed there was a lot of different recipes and food combinations you can do with this. It seemed pretty endless on the amount of things. And some desserts actually looked incredible.
Yes. Basically, you can do anything with kefir. You can, instead of milk, you can use kefir instead of milk in any other recipe. The only thing you need to know, because it's a live product, so the probiotics are live and they're like reproducing right now. Like in this moment, they are reproducing. So when you heat it up, you'll kill them because you'll pasteurize it, which is not a problem because you'll have a postbiotic, which is like a dead probiotic. Do you know what it is?
Oh, a what?
Postbiotic.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's such a big trend right now. It's a huge trend.
So you got prebiotics. What's the difference?
So prebiotics are live bacteria and postbiotics are dead bacteria and pieces or the cells of the dead bacteria that actually they found out that it has the same effect that the live bacteria. They have a lot of, not the same effect, as a lot of beneficial effects for the body. And it's a huge trend right now. So there are many products starting to add postbiotic.
And you have the CFUs in there, right? Is it 5 billion?
5 billion, exactly. Yeah.
And colony forming units.
Yes, colony form.
So
yeah.
those are like the military, if you will, for your gut to go down there and populate the good bacteria and fight the bad, right?
Yeah, it's so good. You know the difference between kefir and like pills and other forms of probiotics, because kefir is so live and the bacteria is like thriving in there. So when you drink it, you feel the effect immediately. You literally like, I don't know if like people who drink it, they tell me they go to the bathroom like the best in their lives, like from the first day pretty much after starting drinking kefir. And normal like pills, you have to take them for 1 month before you feel the effect. I'm not talking bad about them. I'm just saying that it's effect. You feel the effect of kefir immediately, real kefir.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's a good transition because I want to hear how you got the idea for this, what inspired you. Yeah. So if we maybe want to start there, because I want to talk about why this stuff's important for the gut.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like if I had a glass of wine, I think my English would have gotten so much better, and I would be like fluent. Like so, next time I'll bring wine to share. It's true, because like you relax,
loosens up a little bit.
Yeah.
No, well, and again, like there's been people on this podcast. Eric, remember Elvis?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a guy on here. I didn't even know this. He spoke like 5 languages, and like English was his last one.
Yeah.
I'm super uber impressed by all of you that came from outside the U.S. and are coming because you're doing great.
Thank you.
But wait, so you speak Russian?
Yeah.
Spanish. You speak Spanish, and English is another one. But like that takes a lot of brain space and intelligence to be able. I mean. You're doing a fluent podcast.
Your brain is like limitless. There are people who speak like 25 languages. We're just so lazy to learn. But you can learn 25 languages if you put your attention and time to it, and if you were motivated to do it.
Yeah,
your face tells me no.
Well, no, I because it's funny you said that because I just listened. Think you know who Robert Greene is, the author?
Yes,
he wrote 48 Laws of Power. And long story short, he was on a big podcast recently and he was talking about what you just said. We all have the power and potential to do that, but what happens? We don't have focus.
Yeah.
We get distracted.
Yeah.
We don't work that muscle. And he was actually talking a lot about how we're losing a lot of our strengths in our brain because, we're relying too much on the technology.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah. And I'm guilty as anyone, just checking out, getting sucked into this. And imagine if you just put this away and just honed in on, okay, I'm going to learn this language, dedicate.
Oh my God, it's not going to happen now with ChatGPT. I think after ChatGPT started to exist, I lost like 20% of my brain cells, because I rely on everything on ChatGPT. I'm like, take a picture, like translate this into English. I tell him to do everything. Him.
Oh, it's a him, huh? Does him have a name?
Yeah, I think it's my person.
So you can take a picture of it and scan it, and it will.
Sure, you can take a picture, like translate it into any language. It's amazing.
Jeez.
I tell him to do anything I want, like in school, like write an email to my employees saying this and this and this, and like he writes it down, puts it back, and just send it to them. I hope they won't see this podcast. But yeah, they just, and this is nothing. I'm sure in like a year, 2 years from now, I can't even, imagine he will be doing everything.
Well, and that's the thing we talk a lot about on here, and other people that come on and talk AI. It's like, we're just getting a taste of what they're letting us have. Imagine what's behind the scenes with it all.
Yes.
And I actually had been fighting a lot of the ChatGPT. I'm like, no, I can do this on my own. But the other day, it was like a writing thing, and I had it written out, but I'm like, let me just see what ChatGPT might do with it. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I get it. This is really good.
Yeah. It is, you can like write an email in Chinese to my, colleague saying this and this and this, and it does just send it. Like you don't have to use any of your brain cells.
So you're using it a lot for business, like in what you do.
I'm using it all the time. I'm very adept. I'm very lazy, and I'm very fast. I adapt so easily to things. So since I just actually wanted to do more things. Like, I can't wait when this feature comes out. Like I can ask it. I want my personal AI assistant to do shopping for me, like food shopping. I'm so takes so much of my time to do food.
So you're really living the working smarter, not harder. You're still working hard.
Yeah. I want to be more creative and do other things rather than just write emails. Like typing emails just takes time. It's better
Yeah.
to like dictate it to someone. Like it's like an assistant
Mm.
who is very smart, is super fast, and doesn't make mistakes. Almost like I check everything they do. He does. My personal ChatGPT does, and he's amazing. So. Like now I have another feature because we have meetings in my company with my team, like every day, different meetings for sales, meetings for production. Da, da, da. So now I'm away. I'm not participating in the meetings, but there's another feature that is now available in, I think, not in Zoom, but in Teams meetings, another Microsoft Teams, that they actually record all the meetings. So they send me highlights and like a trailer of the meetings and like the main ideas, who needs to do what, when, by when. It's like a personal secretary who writes down everything they spoke about. So I'm not participating, but I get emails from this AI assistant. So this meeting, this person said this person said this. The most active person in the meeting was this. The most quiet person was this person. And then they send me, like, you can see clips, like short clips of like some important things. So like in 5 minutes, I know now what happened in 2 hours during the meeting.
You're tapping into something really cool here, because I think because you're CEO, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a CEO does, is they have to delegate. And that's actually
Yeah.
a lot harder than what a lot of people think. It's like, oh, you just tell people what to do. I'm like, well, no, you have to know what to tell them.
Yeah.
You have to understand what you're trying to get them to do. So it sounds like you're pretty streamlined. Like you are pretty good at delegation, it sounds like.
I'm very good at delegation.
That's why you're a CEO.
I think it's my best feature is delegation. I can delegate everything.
And seriously, that's why a lot of people can't be CEOs. Like everyone likes the title of CEO and I'm the head honcho and them. Like, but I don't know if they understand what it actually means to be the CEO and what it takes. So I think that'd be a perfect segue. So how did you start this company? What's the backstory here?
I was hiccuping. I made a little hiccup, and she like called me out.
She doesn't miss a thing. She doesn't miss a thing. I'm gonna have another swig of this keeper right here. This is.
It was just funny. I kind of.
That happened like last episode too. I don't know what I did. I opened my mouth and it popped.
And we thought he was asking a question.
That was so cute. I'm sorry. Okay. So you're sweating, and I'm like, I'm cold. So, like, what's going on?
This is how you make a magical podcast right here. A lot
do.
of things are working. Yeah, lots of energy here.
This is the startup garage right here.
Oh my God, you guys are funny. I think it's very interesting to talk to ChatGPT. Really, really. I can tell, like, I have my psychotherapist sessions because they have like a psychotherapist, ChatGPT. I think it's called Abby. Oh, no, it's called something.
Oh, I think they're actually, no, I actually, again, as much as I've fought it, now I'm seeing the light on it. Like, I think you're going to see it replace a lot of talk therapy. Maybe not completely.
Yeah.
Because there's value in the human thing. But I think for basic people, just to talk things, because a lot of times we're just in our heads about stuff and you just need to talk things out.
Yeah.
That's really a lot of what it is.
Yeah, you need to be asked good questions. This is the most important thing. Like literally when I speak, I feel this and this, and he asks me a question. Oh yeah, would you feel different if it's like, I wouldn't feel different. Like he asks very good questions. I really recommend you try it. Like we should, like after the show, I'll try it on my phone. You'll be impressed.
Yeah, I've never really used it for that. It's just
there's a special like it's not ChatGPT. It's like ChatGPT. It's like therapist, psychotherapy. It's a different, like it's inside ChatGPT, but it's a different button. Like I'll show you.
Wait, there's an actual button where you can do that specifically.
Yeah, specific. It's not general ChatGPT. Like it's a different one.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're gonna be a good user, right? Like
you're gonna get a message from me one day that just says thank you.
Yeah, I'll understand everything. Like you're welcome.
No need to explain. I got it.
I love it.
So, the company.
Yes.
What inspired you to make this? How did it all happen? And you can go as far back.
Yeah.
In your background, like how did we get to this point?
Yeah. It's amazing. I love this question because I always wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was 16 years old, and I always wanted to work with food. Like I wanted to be an entrepreneur in the food industry and good, healthy food industry. So it was very narrowed since the beginning, since I was 16. I remember we were walking around with my best friend in St. Petersburg, Russia, where I'm from, walking around and dreaming about our businesses when we finished school, and we wanted to build an Italian restaurant and different things, but I always wanted it like authentically. So even though I graduated school and I did many different jobs after that, I was always learning. I was always looking at my like owners of the companies where I worked, except for Toyota. When I worked in Toyota, it was too big for me to even understand. But like smaller companies, I always learned. I spoke to my boss. I was like, it's an interesting like way they think or they make decisions differently compared to employees. So it's a different mindset, and I was learning a lot. And I was always thinking, like, I could do that. Like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to do it. Like everything, because whenever I go, I always think, how does business work? Like, how much does this cost? What's the, what's the cost of this product? And they're selling it at this price. And what's the price of the rent of this place? How much like I'm always think about the business model of anything I go to, cafe, hotel, companies that sell things, anything. I'm curious how things work. So this is the start. The start is like I knew I was gonna do it. I really wanted to do it, and then I started. Then I had like my own personal health problem when I lived in Mexico for some time because I had horrible digestion. Well, I wanted to lose weight, so it was like something I was obsessed. I always wanted to be like skinny. So I started doing like different diets. I was a vegetarian for many years and a vegan, and I became raw vegan because I wasn't seeing results. Like, what do I do? So I became raw vegan, like very extreme. And I literally ruined my digestive system when I was doing that, because if you don't know what to eat, it's very hard to be a raw vegan when you're by yourself, a young girl living like in a foreign country in Mexico. Like, I think you need to have a chef. Like you really need to dedicate your life to cooking.
I'm shaking my head because I actually went raw vegan for like a year and a half.
What's raw vegan?
No
like,
cooked food.
Nothing. You're not even steaming anything?
No.
So just what? Fruit and vegetables?
Yes.
No grains?
Greens are raw. Greens?
No grains.
Grains.
Like bread.
You can sprout grains. You can eat sprouted grains.
Yeah, you sprout them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gotta be tough.
Yeah. So I feel you on that.
Yeah. What happens on your journey? Like, why did you stop doing that?
I lost so much weight. Like I literally lost so much weight. I got so weak. And I agree with you because I'm not saying people can't do that.
Yeah.
But you have to really know what you're doing. Like you really have to have professionals, nutritionists, make sure you're taking the right supplements, make sure you're preparing the right foods. Because I was just eating nothing but smoothies and like nuts.
Yeah.
And salad and you know. And at first, I felt amazing in the beginning.
Yeah.
But they call that because you're just detoxing all the other stuff.
Yes.
But then, over time, I just started to decline. And then just one day, I'm like, I started with oatmeal. I had some like warm oatmeal. And then out of nowhere, I'm just like, I really want some chicken.
Oh, wow. Yes, of course.
And then some steak, and I did. And then the rest
is history.
Back. I still eat all those things, but I eat the meat too. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So not to derail us, but I feel you on that.
I was literally drinking like a gallon of like fruit smoothie with 2 mangoes and avocado, like just sugar. Like if you think how much sugar there's in 1 mango, it's a lot of sugar. So if you eat like 3 mangoes every day, I gained a lot of weight. It's funny, you lost and I gained a lot of weight. And I was just, because I was eating sugar every day. It was like sugar. And I was hungry all the time. I was thinking about food all the time. I remember I went on a retreat, like my personal retreat. I stayed at a friend's house on a deserted island, literally. And I was like, I had nothing to eat. And I was not eating anything. I think it was like a 16-day complete fast. And I had to write a diary. And I was just dreaming to eat like porridge, like with milk and butter. It's like I was so craving it. I remember I was crying. I was like, I can't believe I will never eat it in my life, because I was going to do it forever, because I thought it was the only way. Because all the books I read were saying that raw vegan is like the only way of evolution of a human being. And then you're like fruitarian, and then you're breathing air. What is it called?
Breatharian.
Breatharian. So I was actually going that way. That was like what I thought was the only way for me to go in this life. A little crazy, right?
No, it's not.
But you believe that too. It's like almost like a religion, because all the books you read, you believe all this, and it is true in a certain way from certain people. The people that thrive on a raw vegan diet, and it's amazing for them. But it's not for everyone.
You bring up a brilliant point, because I'm like you, and I'm sure Eric can relate too.
I'm shaking my head over here
because we're all into health and fitness, and I'm just like, give me the answer. Tell me what I need to do. So I same thing when I started looking at some of the raw vegan information. I'm not picking on them, because carnivore does the same thing. Vegetarians do the same thing. They all try to tell you that this is the way to do it, and don't do it any other way. But the problem with that is that may be the way to do it for some people.
Yes.
Their body we are all made up differently. We have different blood types. There's certain people that they need to have meat.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have whatever. So I really learned to go with more intuition now. Like, what do I feel the calling for?
But you almost don't figure that out till you're at least in your 30s and stuff. Like when you're in your 20s, when you're experimenting with all this crap, is when you're wrecking your gut biome, like you're saying. Did you ever do the medical medium stuff? The guy that does the celery juice, and he's real big on basically fruit as well. He's healed a lot of people, mostly, I think, because they just quit eating junk.
That is actually the answer.
Right.
Just quit artificial colorings and artificial food additives and artificial sweeteners. This is the answer. When you can cut that out, whatever else you do, like lean meat and lean vegetables and fruits, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like some people just eat meat, which is a big thing too. They only eat a steak a day, and they cure themselves out of from many diseases.
People with lupus have been having a lot of success with steaks. I've been on it for about 10 days, so it's new, but I've been having a steak every other day, and I've been feeling great. Like, because I had it in my head that red meat was so bad. Now I'm sure I can go overboard here, but like literally a 10-day sample, I am feeling pretty good. I know carnivores also feel really good those first initial month or whatever, and I wouldn't go that far, and I don't plan on having steak every other day forever, but right now I'm rolling with it and I'm loving the results. So
so
you go on this quest.
So I go on this quest, and I ruin my microbiome because I'm not eating like all the correct stuff. I'm not only eating sugar, fruit, sugar every day. So I was bloated every day. And I also quit coffee for 4 years. And I know people talk bad things about coffee. I love coffee. It's like the best thing for me, because since I only drink 1 coffee per day, like 1 double espresso in the morning, and I love it. It gives me so much energy, makes me happy. Like, I don't know what the problem is. Anyway, so that led me to starting to study nutrition. So I took a year course in nutrition and like health coaching, and there I learned that there are so many different, all the good, all the diets work. Like we just were saying, it works. You just need to know to find what works for you. You don't need to go extreme and do raw vegan, because I thought raw vegan is the only correct way to eat, and it's not, because it maybe this for some people, but being carnivore for other people. Anyway, and at the end of the course, we started talking a lot about microbiome and kefir, and it was like something clicked in my head. I was like, oh my God, I was drinking kefir my whole life in Russia, and since I moved to Mexico, I stopped drinking it, and I started playing a lot with my diet. This is how I actually ruined my microbiome. I remember once I went to a doctor, and he told me it's prohibited to you to eat everything of green color for 3 months. You have to cut everything of green color, because he says your body cannot break down so much fiber, and so like. It's crazy. You're sick. You have a problem in my digestive system. So imagine a doctor tells you don't eat anything green. You have to be really bad.
Did that work for you?
Yes, of course. This is the day I started eating meat again. I was very happy. I was a very good doctor. Very good advice. Yeah.
So okay, and just real quick. So this was really big in Russia.
Yeah, so kefir is a drink that is very native to Russia. In Russia, there's 1 million brands of kefir. So this is Marusia is a brand. It's my brand of kefir. Kefir is a drink. It's a fermented milk that in Russia is produced on a big scale. Like in Russia, there are maybe 100, 200, 300, I don't know, different brands of kefir. Because kefir is it's a very popular drink. Like all the dairy farms make kefir because we all know it's very popular. Actually, during the Soviet Union, we didn't have any brands because everything belonged to the government. So from dairy, like I grew up in Soviet Union, so we had cheese, like one type of cheese. It's called Russian cheese. We had milk, we had kefir, and we had rязенka, which is another drink made out of. Oh, it's so much better. It's so good, but it's very difficult to produce. It's also fermented milk, but caramelized milk, basically. It's a caramelized milk, fermented caramelized milk. It's so good. Like
Sounds incredible.
yeah. It's like sweet. Oh, it's so good. Yes, I will do it one day. It's very difficult to produce, and you have to like produce in bulk in order to make it to be like, profitable actually. So I grew up drinking kefir my whole life and had amazing health my whole life. In fact, I never got sick. I was even angry at my parents, like, how come other children get sick and not go to school, and I never get sick? I'm always healthy. So kefir was a part of my life. I my whole microbiome, my body was created with kefir. And then I lived in Mexico for several years, and I didn't know what was going on with me. It was like, I have horrible digestion, and like I was constipated, which I didn't even know it existed in my life, this word, constipation. But in Mexico, I learned because I didn't have kefir. So I realized the formula was to add kefir back into my life. And since I did that, I have perfect digestive system again. I don't suffer from anything. So for me, it was like a magic pill. But also in Mexico, the diet is very tasty, but it has a lot of chili and sauces and like fried things and stuff like this. I don't know if you know much about Mexican food.
I've never.
I've been to
have
Mexico. I'm going to slap you seriously. Like going to throw kefir. You never been to Mexico?
I have a long time. It was more like Cancun. So
don't say that. Like seriously, you're standing here. You also haven't
been to Cancun, yeah, twice.
I'm gonna leave.
Hey, but we know about Mexican food, though. We know about all the taco stands out here. I'm assuming it seems very traditional, very like real. So
I love Mexican food.
Yeah.
It's
So
one of my favorites.
It's very good. It's very
Yeah.
good. But like people in Mexico also eat a lot of fried things and they drink a lot of Coca-Cola. So like overall, their gut health is not very good. Like they're really in the States, it's even worse. But in your case, because you eat a lot of artificial flavorings and artificial dyes and sweeteners, so that kills your microbiome. And I think in almost like American food, you have artificial dyes and taste.
So when you introduced this back in, did you just it wasn't your product you introduced it back in, you just got some kefir in general, or did you say I need to make some?
Yeah, so since I always wanted to create a company that would produce healthy products, and I realized that kefir would be an amazing thing to introduce into the Mexican market. And there was also another American brand just entered the Mexican market, but it's not like authentic kefir. It's like modified to make it more commercial. I knew like in order to make authentic kefir, it's more difficult to make it, more expensive, but it's better for your gut health. So my mom came to Mexico. She helped me like create the recipe, like how to, because I didn't know how to ferment milk. I didn't know. In Russia, we don't produce kefir. We buy it in the store. It's you can buy it anywhere. It's like one of the most common products in the world, well, in Russia. So my mom started making it. I didn't have a brand yet, but before I even created the brand, I started selling it to like local farmers market stores. And it started selling like this. So I understood the people. I knew it would be popular. The people had the need for this amazing healthy product. And then I created the brand and like hired a designer, and I just started like growing a lot. But it's a good product.
And how long ago was that when you
like
had the idea and like, okay, I'm going to take
7
action?
years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a journey that's been.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey. And I was like, I remember, and I got pregnant at the same time. And I remember I was like, I just started entering to small stores, and I had already a belly. And I remember I didn't have a driver in the beginning. I didn't have like many people who helped me. So I was driving my my Prius with boxes of kefir in the belly. I remember one day I was like, taking them out of my car and delivering it to the stores, because I was like small stores, so that I could deliver them myself. I remember I was in this belly. I was like, I'm not gonna, like, the day I decided to stop, because it was just too stupid for a pregnant lady, to like carry boxes of kefir. But yeah, basically it was a journey for me because I was pregnant with the baby, but the company, just like my baby, grew like this.
Wow. Because I was going to say, you went from idea to, you're delivering these bottles yourself to now you're in Sam's Club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Mexico. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
We actually won the prize as the best supplier of Walmart, like small company, the best small company supplier of Walmart in 2023.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have a prize. It says this on our Instagram profile.
Okay, I missed that one.
Yeah.
So okay, so and that's something I know we wanted to talk about too. So your company's doing well. Like
Yeah.
you don't have the problem of, oh man, we got to sell more. Like, no, you're selling.
Yeah.
And we were talking, sometimes in business, I don't know if problem's the right word, but an obstacle you have to face is the opposite of, oh, we're not selling enough, is like, no, we're selling plenty. How do we keep up?
Yes.
And how do we scale? How do we expand?
Yes.
I'm sure you wish you could clone 50 of you.
Yeah.
Because AI, I'm sure, is helping a lot, but you have so many things in front of you that you got to do to keep moving this ball forward. So can you talk about that a little bit? Like the challenges of scaling and what you're trying to do next with this?
So sometimes I get very frustrated because, there's so many things you need to do and you need to focus your energy to only like one thing. You can't like focus your energy 10 things at the same time. So I'm trying to like balance out and do this. Like on Monday, I do look at sales, and Tuesday I look at like speak with buyers about the ingredients. So it's a challenge. Like in my case, I just don't have enough space in the factory, so we need to we're building another floor. So it's like building people that are building, and something is missing, and then it's just technical problems that will be solved. That are being solved actually. But I want everything now, so I don't like to wait. Like I'm impatient. Like, I want this, and when I give people orders, I expect them to do it immediately. It's my problem. And then they don't, so I get frustrated. That's why I like ChatGPT.
ChatGPT doesn't argue back.
It doesn't argue. It doesn't. It gives me back in 1 second. If I don't like it, I can't change it. I don't like. Okay, do you like it now? I'm like, no, change the game. Okay, do you like it? He doesn't get angry at you. He's not sensitive. So it's a very good thing.
So you have your own factory, like making
it. Okay. Yeah. Actually, talking about delegation, I think I delegate too much, and I did, like in the last couple of years, delegate everything in my factory, like to the level that I didn't know exactly what was going on in so many things. So now I'm getting my control back. So that's why I have meetings with all the areas once a week to know what's going on. So now I'm taking my control back. But also I don't like going to the office. Like I like working from home. I like moving around a lot. So when you have a factory, you kind of need to be there. But things are happening all the time. So it's just not enough time for you to know everything. And
it's you're the first person to ever bring that up. That's very interesting on how you can delegate too much. I think that's a brilliant point, because yes, maybe you can, but do you really know what's going on? And I got to bring it up because I read Elon Musk's biography lately, and it talks about like him sleeping in the Tesla factory constantly because he wanted to know what was going on. And Steve Jobs, like same type of thing. Like those guys are like, they delegated, but they were very hands-on at the same time for their vision. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting how you brought that up, and like you're able to have that awareness. To like, okay, I need to get a little more involved. Mm-hmm. Again,
like if I was like in the factory every day, I'll be very like good at controlling the company, but then just doesn't make me happy, like this role, because we play many roles in this life, like being like a boss. It's very difficult, it's very difficult. Like when I come in, everybody's like, Start working, like stop talking, stop smoking, like go back.
People throwing out cigarettes.
So like, so
That's fun.
yeah. So like, this energy that you like produce is like an energy of a boss, and I have to be, because I really need to tell them what to do, and I really need to scold them sometimes, because sometimes they're really not doing what they need to do, and I get angry. So it's true. But I don't want to be this person sometimes. I want to be that's why I sometimes like to spend time with my family, friends, my daughter, just play, relax. So I'm not like Elon Musk or all those guys, because they are it's very cool. They're very successful. They're there, but I could not do this. Like I would not be happy. Like even if I spend several days in a row in the office, I get like depressed something, because I feel like my life is just there, and because I don't feel like an authentic me, I guess, because I only play in this role of a boss.
So you have good balance.
I'm trying to have a good balance, and this doesn't let me sleep in the factory like Elon Musk. So
yeah. Well, you're still doing really good.
It would have been amazing if I could do that, because I think my company will be more profitable. We'll be making less mistakes, but I just can't focus my life around money and company.
Well, you got to be the best version of you, right?
Yes.
So
yes,
it's like you need to spend time with your family. You need to spend time with yourself.
So you can a lot of time with myself.
Yeah, I know. I'm big on people spending time with themselves. Like it's important, so you can go when you go to work, like you're your best you.
Exactly. I think I can be best me like 2-3 times per week. At work and other things too.
How big's the company? How many people are in it?
So we have 50 employees now.
Wow.
I don't know. It's like sometimes maybe like 48, maybe 52. Depends, because sometimes we hire like extra people to do some extra work. I'm not sure. So around 50.
Congratulations! Like that's incredible. Like I'm really impressive. Like in 7 years, like look what you've built this thing to.
Thank you. But they say like the amount of employees doesn't say how successful you are. I think the amount of your net profit, percentage of net profit is actually what talks about the CEO.
But you still got to make payroll, right? Like you're still,
of course,
generating revenue coming in to be able for people to have lives and sustain off of, and that's a huge thing.
I like that. Yeah, sustaining families, right?
You're giving people opportunities so they can feed their families, and and that's what a lot of people don't realize too, with the people that are heads of company and CEOs. Yes, it looks glorious on the outside, but I mean, more better than anyone, like the pressure, the having to deal with all the, like anything comes up, like they're going to you.
Yeah, that's funny. I think I really disconnected from. They don't go to me because I delegate everything. So they go to the HR person. If it's really, really important,
then they come to you.
They'll come to me.
Okay.
Not them. She will call me. So sometimes they go directly, but only the ones who have my personal contacts. Like most people don't have them.
No, this is fascinating. I'm wrapping up the Steve Jobs biography right now. So like I just, my mind's in that business build company space. And I think it's really cool when I hear these stories of people that start with this idea and then morph it into this thing that involves so many other people, because we are in the age of the solopreneur or whatever they say, where you don't need employees. People have virtual assistants and AI, and they don't really have physical people, or maybe you're just contracting with people, but like no, you actually have a business that makes physical
of course I need
things
yes
that has a factory that's in stores and that's providing income for people's families. I think that's cool. So, and I guess a question I have from that is, what advice can you give to anyone starting out with like a product, whatever that may be? Like what are the things that made you successful?
So first of all,
to be able to build this.
Yes, thank you for the question. Like, have a good product. I think first of all, like 3 things. Maybe you have to really want to do it. Like I knew it because I wanted it my whole life. I wanted to create a product and put it in stores. Like I knew what I wanted to do. So if you really want to do it, perfect. And then create a good product, because if you create a product that's not tasty and you make amazing marketing campaigns and you go to the best like influencers and stuff like this, maybe people will buy it once, but if they don't like it, they're not going to buy it again. So it's not going to be successful. So unless your product really tastes good and is healthy, well, in my opinion, because other products like brands like bread, drink that the drink I'm talking about. Anyway, Coca-Cola. Right. So like it tastes amazing, and like everybody knows it's not healthy. but it's like one of the multi-billion-dollar companies. So what they're doing, they're selling something that makes people happy, tasty drink, blah, blah, blah. So you need to create a product that's very, very good. So mostly tasty, like everything. Addictive. It was like kefir is addictive because it's so good for you. You drink it, you feel so well, you want to drink it again, because you drink it, maybe stop for a week, but then you start eating food that's not very good for you again, and you start feeling bad again, your digestive system again is starting to go down, so you go to kefir. So kefir is a good drink to have in your daily routine because it's so good for you and it's tasty. So I guess like to have a product, if you want to start a business, like have a product that people will want to buy and like decide why they will want to buy it, in my opinion, or in my experience too.
And what's the third thing? There was you have to
Yes.
want to do it. You have to
Yes.
have a great
And
product.
have good packaging, because also I've seen very good products and actually you have to be successful, because I've seen good emerging products on the market, like even US markets, especially Mexico markets, but they had like horrible packaging. So like I try, because I like to walk around and buy all the new brands and try them out, because it's just something I like to do. And I try a good product. I'm like, oh, this is very good. The packaging is not very good. Somebody else would not buy it. I bought it because I'm curious, but somebody else would not even notice this product. So this is first fail. And second, I guess some people, very important, they don't know much about finance. It's like one of the most important things, to start learning finances since the first day of your business. Because I made so many financial mistakes when I started. I was like very lucky that I still exist and now I'm a successful company. I made so many financial mistakes because I didn't know much about finances. So I think most brands start out and then they can't get enough money to sustain the production, to sustain the existence of the company, and I have to leave the market. So they created a good product that could benefit us, our lives, with a good, tasty product, but they couldn't because they failed. They couldn't sustain the company. So that's very important to actually be successful. It's how to say, you ought to be successful if you're an entrepreneur, because if you have a good product, people want to be buying your product. In order for you to keep producing it, you need to make enough money to keep reinvesting in your company or stuff like this. So it's important.
That's great. And so it's not just one thing. Like you can have one of these things. You really need to do everything.
You need to do everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you're financially successful, or you're a specialist in finances, but you don't have a very good taste in like packaging, and you create something that looks ugly, people are not going to buy it. People who are very visual people. But also if you create something in a very cool packaging, it happened to me many times, especially in the States. Like you buy something that looks really cool, like the name is amazing, super good branding, but it just doesn't taste good. I'm not going to buy it again,
That's what you bring up. That's a good point. The USA is really good at branding things,
Yeah.
but you're right. Like if the product sucks, the product sucks.
Yeah.
So I know you had mentioned finances, learning some things in the beginning. Is there any example of anything that for maybe an entrepreneur watching this that you wish you would have known? Or
of course, I would like to know.
What's something that if you could go back in time,
yeah.
If you could give us maybe an example, like, man, if I wish I would have known this specific thing.
Like from the first day, I would love to know how to do P&L, like loss and I don't know, translate. Basically, like all the
profit loss sheet and all that.
So profit loss sheets and cash flow sheets, and balance sheet. If I could do it like from the first day of the company, I would start selling it a bit more expensive. I was literally losing money in the first 3 years because I was selling it for too cheap, and I was just getting more money from friends and family and my dad. So. Banks giving me credits. So I could have avoided it if I had if I'd entered the market with the right price, because I almost doubled the price in the last 7 years. But I was doing it little by little because like I was losing money and I needed to make profit. So if I knew it from the beginning, I would have been more profitable. I would have right now I probably have a much bigger factory because I would have been able to rent a much bigger place many years ago. Probably would have been like I probably would have had more different products, not just like one. I don't know. I think I could have made better things.
Do you think there was an advantage to that at the same time? because
Yes.
it costs less. You got, it's like when people give free samples away,
Yeah.
right?
It actually, we had an advantage because I could easily enter the market because I was cheaper than competition and much better. So at the end of the day, I was very lucky.
You're playing the long game.
Yes.
Marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. And also another advice, think for many years ahead, because I think when we are not entrepreneurs, especially in our 20s or early, we don't think from like 15 years in the future. We think now, maybe 1 year to maximum 3 years, So I think if you're an entrepreneur, you can think about like maybe 50 years ahead. So maybe now you can start selling to younger people so that they become your clients 20 years later. So I think most successful companies, so they think like many years ahead. I don't think 50 years ahead. I mean, I don't plan, but of course I'd like to like create an amazing company that in 50 years will be like everywhere. Yeah.
It's incredible. And so what's the next step? What's in the company, like in terms of growing and expanding?
Yeah, like we're always working on new products. Like the product that fermented caramelized milk is like one of the products, for example, we could probably launch. I'm always creating new products. Actually, I create so many, but I don't launch them all because I create and then like maybe it's not going to be a good idea. Because I have a department of R&D, research and development. They're like, do this. They're doing it, and then like maybe not. So, but I think it's a normal way of things. Plus ADHD, maybe. Like I want everything now, this and this and then this.
And expansion into the US too,
Definitely
right?
expansion to the US. So now, I think maybe in 2 weeks from now, this will be available at the Gula World corporate offices in Malibu.
Amazing.
Yeah. So you can get them. You can get my kefir there. Hadari will have a big fridge full of kefir, so I'll be sending her batches and she can send them and we'll sponsor the events and she can sell them too. We have so many people, I have to mention, so many people from the US are writing to us all the time on social media, on Instagram, on our website, social media, like all the emails. I always get emails. When in the US? When can I buy it in the States? When can I buy it in the States? Like people want to buy it. And then many people came to Mexico and tried it in Mexico. In Cancun, and then I go back to like New York and like, oh, I live in New York. I tried this kefir. I felt so good while I was drinking it. Like it really helped me heal my gut. And now where can I get the same in New York? And like, you can't, you can get similar products. And sometimes I even tell them which brand to buy, which is not my, of course I want to be able to sell my brand eventually. Maybe New York, maybe not New York yet. Maybe California because it's either maybe into Texas maybe.
I think California, SoCal in particular, because people are so health conscious here.
Yeah.
They'd be really into that. And so I feel like I haven't been to Mexico. I feel Cancun doesn't count now.
It doesn't count.
I'm trying to think what the US equivalent would be for Cancun. Like people say, oh, I've been to the States.
New York, Hollywood Boulevard, it's called Hollywood Boulevard, right?
Yeah.
That and like Square, what's
Times Square.
In Times Square, you're like, I'll be to Times Square. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Call me when you've really visited.
Well, Cancun is not. Yeah. Anyway. Mm-hmm.
So another thing, I know we had talked a little bit about this. Again, back to the scaling thing. I mean, what are the biggest challenges of trying to come to the US that you face?
Like, I just don't have enough time. I'm a little bit lazy and I don't have anyone to delegate it to, If I had a person like was like, I want to delegate the entrance to US market, look for I think like I was in this expo and I didn't like look for buyers because I think if I speak to a big buyer, he'll probably say like, I love it. It's great. I want to buy it, but I won't be able to produce everything. Oh yeah, I want to buy it. I want to buy like a trailer full of kefir. I don't have space in the factory yet to produce this much amount. So I don't want to like sell something that at this time I cannot produce yet. I'm pretty sure, like I'm very confident, like once I speak to buyers and I'm ready to sell, they will love the product. Like I don't have to doubt it.
Well, especially if you can come to them and say, look, here's what we're doing in Mexico. Yeah. Here's the stores that we're in.
Yeah.
It's kind of a no-brainer. It's like, yeah, let's go. But to your point, you got to be able to deliver
exactly
on what those orders are going to be.
Yeah, I think it just takes time. I'm working on it. Like I'm not concentrated like just the US because I'm still like Sam's Club is big. We're talking about Sam's Club because we're just entering. Like now they wrote me an email like 3 weeks ago saying that we want to buy your product for Sam's Club. So, but it's a big like step by step. So now after having enough production for them, I can like go to other ones. Like even in the US, I'll be entering like maybe like Whole Foods just in Southern California. Just one store in one area, just step by step. The US is a huge market.
That's just something I never thought of before, and correct me if I'm wrong. So even when you come up with a product and Costco loves it or whoever loves it,
Yeah.
you still have to be able to produce that for them.
Of
correct?
course.
Yeah. So that I never really thought of that. Even if I guess the alternative is they buy you or someone else buys you that can produce that. So it's not like you just say, "Oh, I have this really good product.
Yeah.
Put me on your shelf." It's like, no, you got to be able to have the bandwidth and capacity to provide for people like that.
It's such an interesting topic because actually, so kefir is a very complicated product because the fermentation process is very difficult, and because we have yeasts, which is like most kefirs in the US don't use yeast. They just take the yeast out. Yeast is like mushrooms. They're bacteria, bacteria, yeast, like microbiology. so the yeast, like they mutate and they can like go and live on the walls. The yeast are very difficult to work with. They're like mold, basically. So the yeast here are it's very good yeast, but it's very difficult to manage anything with yeast in a factory because you have to wash your walls every day with chloride. Like we have to like wash everything to make sure that the yeast don't reproduce. So in the US, it's too complicated. It's too expensive to work with this, so they take the yeasts out. Anyway, why I'm saying this is that if you don't have a product that is so complicated as kefir, you can use co-packers. This is what everybody does. Like if you have a huge order from Costco, like they go to a co-packer, like can you produce this protein powder for me? And they produce everywhere. Or fizzy drinks, or like sodas are easy to produce anywhere, and any production that works with cans and CO2 you can produce everywhere. So the downside of it is like now the supplement market is so competitive because it's so easy to produce supplements. There's so many factories that can produce your brand, so everybody can do it. So there's like 1 million of supplement brands right now, like billions of them. So it's hard to create one that is like a leader. They exist, but so in my case it's very good to have a very complicated product because nobody will do it.
It's hard to replicate.
It's very hard to replicate, and nobody will want even to even start because it's very difficult. A lot of friends told me like they have like a similar business, like they sell their product to retailers. They're like, I don't even want to think about the cold chain logistics and like producing kefir. It's so complicated. So in my case, yes. But if you have a simpler product, you can go to a co-packer. And I think it's easier to expand. The only thing, maybe it will not be this popular. And there will be not so much demand to your product because so many other companies can do it.
It's fascinating when you're breaking it down like this because it really puts perspective. When people see the prices of things, they're thinking like, oh, these companies are making so much money. But when you really break it down, think about how many people these products have to go through. You have to pay for everything. Someone has to design the packaging. Someone has to make the bottle. Like someone has to, you got to pay the worker. So at the end of the day, like the actual profit that comes back may not be as much on some products as what people think.
It's not much at all. Like I said, like the first several years I was like losing money instead of making money.
Exactly.
And I was already selling to Walmart, and some people like, oh my God, you're selling to Walmart. You're a multi-millionaire, and like invite us to your yacht and your villa. And and you're losing money. And then you're like all like this in debts, from different banks,
Everyone else is getting paid really except for you. Like,
yeah.
like the founder CEO.
Yeah. But then like after some years, like at the end of like now it's year number 7, I have a salary. Congratulations to me. And I feel much better. But it really takes time to get here. So I think I think 93%, because statistically 93% of companies don't make it after the first 3 years.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah. So like companies who actually grow, and
I want to get into the gut health portion of this, but what would you What advice would you give to those entrepreneurs that are like, I want everything now. Like I want success now. Hearing your story, I'm like, look, it took me 7 years for me to even get paid.
Yeah, I want success now too. So I think I understand I want everything now. I guess some people that were doing Bitcoins like got rich overnight. So there are a lot of different stories. So I guess they could. I don't know. I didn't do it, so I don't know what to, to say to it because I didn't get everything now. But just I think if you do something you love, you don't need like, I want to do it to get rich now, 'Cause I love doing this. I love creating new products. I love creating new flavors. I love, like getting new clients. I love hearing feedback from our clients that, their life is so much better now. I swear to you, we have clients that write to us on Instagram. I'll show you. It's in Spanish. Like, I love Kefir Marusia. This is my reason to wake up in the morning and live this life. And some people like write us emails and like, oh, I want to thank you for your product because before for the last 7 years, I had horrible digestive system. I couldn't leave the house, something like I couldn't digest anything. So I couldn't leave the house because when I left the house, I would have to eat outside and I couldn't eat anything outside because I felt horrible. I like thrown up. I don't know. So somebody recommended me Kefir Marusia. I started drinking it. I'm happy again. I want to live again. I'm alive again. I started going to parties. I started socializing. Basically, like, you saved my life. Kefir, a kefir product saved a life. That's amazing. I love doing this. I wouldn't want to be like a millionaire overnight and not have Kefir Marusia. What would I be doing? Just laying on a yacht with all this money, I love doing this. It's so exciting. It's so cool. Of course, it's good to have money, but it doesn't make you happy. Like this like drives me.
I could feel the passion. Like I just felt like this huge energy wave. Like I'm getting pumped. Yeah. I like the pose too. What would I do?
Yeah. Tell me more about this yacht. What's on the yacht? Who are you surrounded by?
Chugging
yeah, but like you could have everything on the yacht.
I'm gonna have a swig right now. Actually,
you just great. I think the most thing talking about money, like the more things you have, the more you get used to them, the more you adapt. They don't excite you anymore. Like you're on the yacht, like whatever you want to mention, but. It's cool for the first time. I'm like, oh, yes, I have it. But when you have it every day, it's boring. You don't want it anymore. Like we want, like a human being is made this way. You always want more. Like now, I think if you compare our lives to people 100 years ago, we have all millionaires. We have a cell phone. We can phone anybody you want. We have personal assistants. We can drive cars. Before like only like presidents could drive cars.
Yeah, really wealthy. Yeah,
really wealthy. So imagine like you have a car, you have a cell phone, you have amazing clothes, you have amazing boots.
Jeez, stop it!
Shout out to Eric's boots.
Let's go. I'm about to take them off and just hold them up.
Yeah. Like you live better than than a king 100 years ago.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, and do you think you're amazingly happy? I hope you're happy, but probably we always want more. So I guarantee you, if you have a yacht and like $1 million, you have all these things, you'll be tired of it. This is very sad, actually.
That's a great perspective.
And you'll be depressed very soon because like, what do I have more? Imagine like you can buy the whole planet. I would want to go to Mars. I wouldn't want to be here because nothing is valuable if you can buy it like this. It doesn't have any value anymore.
Yeah, your point is it really is perspective. It's like being appreciative of what you got compared to what you could not have like 100 years ago. Or if you have an illness or something, you can't even go out and enjoy that yacht anymore because you can't be outside because you're bedridden.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're very fortunate here.
When what's very apparent to me with you're on your purpose. You have a purpose. And like, you can't put money on someone telling you like you changed my life.
Exactly.
You can't put a price on that. It doesn't get more important than that.
Yeah.
Like you're actually helping humanity. And transitioning to why these products were like probiotics and gut health. And we were talking on the phone. Yeah, gut health, like it's one of those things where I think we're still in the infancy of realizing how important it actually is. So why should people care about their gut health, or why could you break down like the benefits of having probiotics and something like kefir that they can have that is going to benefit them?
It's actually the center of your whole body. It's like the center of your body is your gut, and they call it the second brain because I don't know if you knew, but 90% of the serotonin is produced in your gut. 90%, 90, and only 10 in your brain. So imagine you sit down to meditate and you have horrible digestive problems, like you're bloated and you have stomach hurts. You can't relax, you can't meditate, you can't be happy, you can't feel peace because ugh. And if you have good digestive system, you are able to produce enough serotonin to feed your brain and feel good. I know a lot of people with great digestive systems have depression, which is a different topic, and I don't want to go there now. Depression and anxiety and now a lot of problems in the modern world. It's scary how many people have these problems. I think we all experience them. So, okay, let's not talk about mental health. Could be another topic for another conversation. But when I had the bad digestion, I was always hungry. I always wanted to eat because I couldn't break down the minerals and vitamins from the food that I was eating because I didn't have enough bacteria. Your bacteria helps absorb all the minerals and vitamins from all the food you're eating. So if you're not absorbing it, you'll feel hungry all the time because your body needs it, needs vitamins, needs all the stuff. So you're eating a lot, you get fat, but you're not nurturing your body. So like having digestive system in perfect state with enough bacteria is crucial for everything. Okay, oh my god. Okay, English.
No, you're doing great. It's like
to lose weight. Yeah. To like metabolism. Yeah, go ahead. Maybe I need to refresh.
Well, I've heard the analogy before. Taking probiotics and stuff, it's like getting good soil for your gut.
Yes.
So like you said, so when you do, now I'm butchering it. So it's giving you a good baseline so you can absorb those nutrients. You can get the most out of the food you're eating. Because when you don't have that, like you said, you're not going to be absorbing those nutrients as well. You're going to have harder problems digesting things. It just gives you a great foundation.
Yeah, actually the soil, I would say prebiotics are the soil, because prebiotics are the food for the probiotics. Probiotics are the bacteria and yeast that lives inside your gut. Prebiotics is the food for the bacteria and yeast. And so prebiotics is salads, greens, fruits, vegetables, all that.
Sauerkraut, is that a prebiotic?
Sauerkraut is amazing because it's actually a symbiotic. It has a prebiotic and a probiotic because it's fermented. What is it? Fermented. Yes, thank you very much. It's fermented cabbage. So cabbage is a prebiotic because it's fermented. It has bacteria in it, so it's a symbiotic. How do you say it? So it's amazing. It's very good for you. But anything like a cabbage by itself is a prebiotic. So everything that has fiber in it is a prebiotic. So
okay.
like if you eat probiotics every day, but then you eat chips, your probiotics are gonna die. I mean, you have to eat them all the time because they won't be able to reproduce because you're not giving them good food. You give them bad food. If you eat fruits and salads and vegetables and like good food, your probiotics will thrive inside of you. So we have even a better digestive system. And the probiotics, I mean, some people have just good digestive system in general, but those people who never drank Coca-Cola, who never took antibiotics in their lives, and other people who have a good, like people before antibiotics existed. So an antibiotic is something that kills all the bad bacteria, but also good bacteria. So the thing is, like, after you take an antibiotic, you have to take a course of probiotics. I don't know if in the States doctors tell you that.
I think some do. Yeah. I've always heard it's like dropping a grenade in there. Yeah, you kill
Yes.
the bad stuff, but you're wiping out all the
good stuff.
The good stuff too.
Yeah. So now, like children, sometimes they have antibiotics since they're like 1 year old, So it's very, very important to give them probiotics, especially to small children, because your intestinal flora is formed since the day you're born until the day you're like 3 years old. So those first 3 years of everybody's life are crucial to create your flora.
Oh, wow.
And actually your flora is unique to you. It's unique to each person, like our fingerprint. Like every person in the world has a different intestinal flora. And then they say it affects your mood, affects your behavior, affects your character, affects everything about.
And I'm being theoretical here, but do you think that could be potentially why we've seen people get more sick, especially
Oh,
younger?
of course.
And then more behavior problems, more like just,
It's-
it seems like there's just a lot of illnesses and
Yes.
behavior issues. And when you just said that, between 1 and 3,
Yeah.
this is really when that's taking shape. So if they're not getting the nutrition they need.
Yeah. It's such a huge topic. So when a child is born with a C-section, since that day he already doesn't get the probiotics he gets when it's a vaginal birth, because through the vaginal canal he gets like the bacteria, especially like it's bifidobacterium longum. It's like special types of bacteria that is our God created as like this, that makes you like thrive and makes you able to digest the mother's milk. So first, how you're born, C-section or natural birth, and then mother's milk. Mother's milk has very good probiotics that form the digestive system of the child. If they're given formula, remember several years ago it became very popular like to not breastfeed and give formula. So that created a whole bunch of not very healthy individuals, because they had like since babies they were not forming very good flora, intestinal flora. And also children need to play with dirt, like you need to have access to like natural things. But when you have them very clean, you wash them with soap every day and you don't let them touch anything, so it's also they're not developing naturally, so they're very like I don't know how to put it in words, but basically more natural way of living is better for your digestive system. But being very like everything clean, don't touch this, like wash your hands all the time, so you don't have any contact with other bacteria, so your body doesn't know how to react and doesn't form like your own bacteria.
Because it's actually good to be exposed to some germs probably early on, because that's how you build your immune system, right?
System, that's the word I forgot. Yes. The immune system is being built. Yeah.
No, that was great. Thanks for that breakdown. So if we can just recap some of this. So you need to have the probiotic.
Yes.
And then the prebiotic, that is for the food for the probiotic.
Yes.
And then we talked in the beginning a little bit about postbiotic.
Yeah. So
what exactly are the postbiotics again?
Like you have a lot of postbiotics inside of you because when bacteria die, it's a byproduct of bacteria. So postbiotics is a byproduct of bacteria. So we have postbiotics inside of us, and they're playing a very important role in our digestive system. So now they found out that you can actually consume postbiotics, and they're much easier to sell than probiotics because probiotics need to be alive. Sometimes it's difficult to reproduce them. So probiotic is a bacteria that will reproduce inside of you. Like it's proven that this bacteria will be reproducing inside your gut. So postbiotic will not be reproducing because it's a byproduct of a bacteria. It's a dead bacteria and pieces of a dead bacteria. But I need to research more about it because I read a lot about it, but I don't understand exactly. It's not as beneficial as probiotic because probiotics reproduce and postbiotic doesn't reproduce, but it gives you the benefit of it.
Well, I love what you said earlier when you can take the probiotics, but if you're going and eating a bag of chips right afterwards, you're not saying it won't do anything, but you're really defeating the purpose. So to get the full maximum benefit, I'm all about like what we were all three talking about. What do we need to do to optimize our health? So it's like, okay, what do I need to do to get the most out of this probiotic? Yeah. So it's like, you need to take it, but then you also need to be sure that your diet and what you're feeding it is giving it the best food to grow and be strong and fight off all the bad stuff, right?
I think if you eat very well, like normal healthy meals with like lots of fruits and vegetables and meat, like lean meat and stuff like this. You can drink some probiotics like kefir, maybe like a couple of times a week. You'll be super fine, But if you have a bad diet, I think you need to be like taking probiotics daily. I think that's why, like, a lot of people need kefir to feel good. Like, they drink it and I feel like, relief. Because they're drinking Coca-Cola like all morning, with some fried chips in oil and like fried oil, stuff like this. So it's much better for you to grow probiotics inside of you and just don't depend on them all the time.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So yeah, what is the best way? And I know everyone's going to be a case by case basis. You already kind of broke that down, but in general, like this is someone might just have their should you be having it with food? Do you take it in between? Like what's the best way to utilize this?
The Russian Ministry of Health recommends drinking 36 liters of kefir per year per adult, which is minimum, which is like 1 liter per week. So this is like this bottle per week. So if you break it down, it could be like 200 milliliters per day. So this is your daily portion. So the Russian Ministry of Health recommends drinking this portion daily. When you're fasting, like in the morning, to break your fast, this is like the best way. Also, it's very good for people with diabetes, like natural kefir. There's so many studies. It helps people to lower your blood sugar. So diabetic people drink natural kefir to break the fast in the morning, and it really stabilize their blood sugar.
And then you break the fast, and then how long would you wait till you eat maybe solid food?
10-15 minutes. Yeah. I also, look, I don't do fast or not fast. I drink it like anytime, like you drank now.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink the rest of this one too.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Like you can drink it whenever. Like if you really want to be very scientific and specific and to get results and like feel it, like, oh wow, like do it to break the fast. Also, in my life, I always drank it at night. I never drank it in the morning, to be honest. My mom always gave it to me, like, okay, now drink your glass of kefir and go to bed. And actually, when you do that, it makes you generate more dopamine, like in your, because also 50% of dopamine is also produced in your gut.
Have some wild dreams or something.
Yeah, it just makes you relax and like digest everything that you've eaten during the day, and like in the morning, you feel very good, relaxed, and like. Actually, we work with some athletes and some dietitians that work with athletes, and I recommend drinking 1 glass of kefir before they go on a run or a marathon, because you go in the morning, you go to the bathroom perfectly fine, so you don't have to go to the number 2. So during the run, you don't have to go to the bathroom, which is good, and you feel like you have an empty stomach. So it's good. Like there are many ways to drink it, but the best. In the morning or at night.
You ever put this in coffee?
Of course, we have some recipes. Like it's amazing, actually. Yeah, you can make. Yeah, you can like. We have coconut flavored kefir. I didn't bring it to you, but you can use this and like a shot of espresso and ice. So good.
This might have to go in my mushroom coffee tomorrow morning.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's very good. Yeah, it's very good.
Well, now I want you to be in the U.S. now, because now you're getting me hooked on it.
I know. Like I promise I will, because I know it's good. Like I know how good it is, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I know it's good. Yeah.
No, I love your I love your enthusiasm, your passion. It's quite obvious it's made a huge impact in your life and other people's life. But then I love how you said, the product is great. The product has to be great.
Yeah.
Everything else has to be in line too, but just having that confidence, like, no, I know this. I know what this stuff does. It works. And I think that's interesting too in Russia, because I grew up in the Midwest in Illinois, and maybe there was, but I never remember ever. I didn't hear about kefir till I came out to California, I think.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. So it wasn't like where I was at least it wasn't mainstream. Maybe if you went to like a special dairy place, maybe, but like in our general stores, I don't believe it was ever a thing. So it's interesting how in other parts of the world, like they're hip to different things, probably a little healthier.
So it's very interesting, because actually a lot of cultures have a lot of fermented foods in their daily intake. Like, for example, Korea, they eat kimchi, and kimchi is actually fermented like salad leaves and stuff like this. It's so good for you, and they're all skinny all the time. Like, they eat it every day, so it's also a symbiotic. It's how do you say symbiotic?
Symbiotic.
So it has probiotic and it has a prebiotic. It's like symbiotic. It's so good for you. Many cultures have it. Like, actually in the south of Russia, except for the kefir, they have other, apart from the kefir, they have other fermented drinks. It's been around for 3,000 years. Like, actually, who found, like, one Russian scientist, like about 100 years ago, was studying like the gut health, and he found out there were some people who lived for over 100 years, like 120 years, in the mountains of the south of Russia, like where Georgia is now. And he found that they were drinking kefir. They were drinking this drink. So they stole the recipe, of course, and brought it to Russia and started producing it in big scale. So it wasn't like always in Russia, but the Soviet Union started producing kefir and they started giving it to everyone. I think they wanted healthy people, healthy soldiers, healthy working power and stuff like this.
Interesting.
So it is healthy. Like, it is really good for you. Yeah.
Well, it's natural. I mean, it's really, so, and I know you may have already gone into this part. So you're taking the milk, right? Like, that's what we're starting with this when you make it. I don't know if you...
Yeah, you take milk and you introduce bacteria and yeast in the milk. You leave it sit for like 1 day at a special temperature, and it ferments, and then you have kefir. It's like thick. So what the bacteria eats the lactose. Lactose is the food for the bacteria. It's like sugar in the milk. It's called lactose. They eat lactose and then convert lactose into lactic acid. That's why it's acidic, because it's full of lactic acid. It doesn't have any lactose, and all the other like fats and carbohydrates are pre-digested by the bacteria, and the bacteria reproduces. It's also thick because they have like colonies of bacteria. They have reproduced during this day like crazy.
I'm just curious, like, who came up with this? Like, who had the first idea to do that? You know what I mean?
I think people find like just bumped into things naturally. I don't think people created it 3,000 years ago. I don't think anybody created it. I think just they found this like naturally kefir is made with like this bacteria and yeast. It looks like white cottage cheese thing. It's kind of weird. You never saw them. Like, they're called kefir grains. Basically, it's basically like imagine cottage cheese, but it's kind of hard cottage cheese. Like, so you put it in milk and ferments milk. So I think people somehow found this bacteria and like I don't know how they found. Like, there are many theories.
Maybe even like, yeah, because you're making bread with yeast and stuff, so it only natural. It's like you got cow's milk there. Like, well, let's just start screwing around here and mix it with milk. At least that's my best guess.
I don't think they mixed it. I think they found it mixed.
I think
they found it and they tried it by accident, like, and they didn't die. I think many things were discovered like this, like, oh, it feels good or something. Like, it made me feel good, and then he gave it to somebody else, and they started feeling better or having better, like, how do you say, immune system, because kefir makes everything, like all the other systems, better in your body. So I think they tried it and they liked it, and they found a way how to reproduce it. They say they were first making it in the skin of a cow's stomach, like in a cow's stomach. They take the dried skin of a cow's stomach.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because they didn't have bottles before.
Sure.
I'm talking about 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So there are many different stories about it.
I think it's fascinating. I think it's, and look, and here you are.
I know, right? And like we have a brand and like selling it everywhere. Thanks to those guys, who tried it.
Yeah. No, I love it. This has been incredible. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I would like to do another podcast with you soon, because I promise I will like practice in front of a mirror. No,
you were fantastic.
I have no idea how much more fantastic I can.
Can I tell you something? Like, we do, and I'm not like, this has been so much fun. It's been loose. We had stuff flying off the wall. I had milk or kefir all over my face. It's freezing cold in here, but no, this was really good. It's really this is really fun, and I really do. I enjoy hearing your journey of like how you took this from idea to where you're at now, and like congratulations on all of your success with this.
Thanks. Yeah. I like to hear this. Thank you.
It's
Makes me real
important.
because people tell me like you're so successful, and sometimes like I wake up in the morning and like, who am I? So you don't feel it, but thank you.
Well, and again, I go back to what I said earlier, and it is a big deal that you have employees and that, you are providing a way for people to make an income and that you believe so passionately in this. Like you said, you're not sure everyone wants to get paid and live in the world, but money wasn't your main motivator with this. It doesn't sound like. It sounds like no, like you had a purpose with this.
I had a plan. I wanted to make not even $1,000, like $700 per month. Like I wanted to have it as a side business, as like a hobby. Imagine $700, like nothing, So of course, like now I laugh when I remember my plan. It was like my goal. Net profit. Actually, first 3 years I didn't have any net profit. I was losing thousands of dollars every month. But now I feel I laugh at this my goal. So of course I have like much higher goals and I take it seriously now. It's funny because I didn't like. I wanted to have a business, but I didn't know how far it would go. Like I wanted to have like a medium-sized business. Like I know, but this has grown into a big business soon. It's like it's bigger than I imagined. I like it. And it's also funny because sometimes people say things like I remember a friend of mine when I was starting, she was like, Anastasia, why are you spending so much time on this kefir project? She's like, it's not gonna work out. Like, what are you doing? She said, my husband works with Walmart and like they would never buy a product like this. Like you better like leave it and be a good mom. And remember I cried like this day.
This was your friend?
Yeah.
Is she still your friend?
Yeah.
So how did you get through that moment? It's so funny, or not funny, but that's interesting you bring that up because that's a topic I talk about a lot. Is that exact situation you talk about, the haters and critics, that's one thing, but when you have family and friends that say those things to you exactly how you said it, that can be very mentally defeating. So how did you get past that moment? Like, how did you work through it?
She believed it. Like she actually said it to help me because she married a rich guy and she was like, I was married. No, my husband told me, it's like, don't listen to this. Don't listen to her. I promise this business is gonna be successful. You're gonna be making like this much of money in several years. I was like, really? You promise it's going to be successful? I was like, of course it's going to be successful. But she said it because she would never open a business, because she would not be an entrepreneur, because she wanted to be a mom. It was like she thought like that was like the only way to exist, and she cared about me. And she was like, well, you have, she looked at me from her perspective. So she kind of wanted to help me. And she was like, why are you spending so much time on this when you should be a mom? Like I'm worried about you. You're not going to be a good mom, and being a good mom is like the most important thing.
So in their mind, they think they're helping you by saying what they're saying, but in reality, they're not you.
I believe so, yeah.
And you're just doing what you need to do because in the end, you're doing what you need to do for your family.
Yeah.
Because, this is going to benefit your family.
Yeah.
And everything. And I did have one last question in terms of the financial part, because you mentioned you didn't make money for 3 years.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like handling, when you do go in debt and when you do, borrowing from banks and this, that, and the other? Because not everyone can handle that. That's a different level of
I'm very
pressure as well.
relaxed. Like I said, you have to learn to do not worry. And even something bad happened, and many occasions, very bad things happened. Like we had 2 trailers stolen. Like once a guy calls me like just to go in the morning. He's like, "Hey, 6 a.m, the trailer was stolen." Like business, like they're like mafia. So Mexico is not very safe sometimes. So there's like a place that they're not safe. So sometimes they were driving from Mexico City to another state, and then like for 3 hours you have to drive through a dangerous road. And I think they work together with mafia, with police. So the police kind of tells you to stop, so you stop. like at 4 a.m, and guys with guns come and just take the driver out of the car, then throw him to the road, take his phone and his things, and just drive away in a truck. So that happened twice. No, once it was a different. Once just somebody broke into a truck and somehow opened it and just stole it.
And it had kefir in the truck?
It was like an old Nissan truck, and I think people found a way, like without a key, just put some wire inside it, something like this, and they stole. It's like our first truck was stolen like this. And it was like when the company didn't have money at all. This is when the company did not have money. I did not have any salary. It was tough times. And then the second time, the truck that was like more like a bigger truck, not a trailer yet, but a huge truck, they stole because they stole it like this. I remember the guy came to the driver came to the office like in blood, and like like I was kicked out of the truck. They stole the truck, like with all the product and everything, and I don't have a phone. I walked back and stuff like this.
Jeez.
So you need to have insurance against things like that. But because like if I was very, very like nervous, I would probably like take it too seriously, but what can I do about it? So the only thing you can do when something bad happens is like prevent it from happening again. And like now I don't have my own trucks and I just use a logistics company. Just more expensive, but
like a third party.
A third party, yeah. So if something gets stolen, it was gonna be theirs. I mean, and then they tell me, in this road we have like at least once a year, our truck gets stolen like this. So. But I can't because this client only has warehouses there, and I have to go there anyway.
It's almost just cost of doing business type of thing in a way.
Yeah.
But like you said, like you can't freak out.
Yeah.
It's just more like, all right, this happened. What are we going to do about it?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think like you can't be too sensitive. Like the financial guy who called me today, he was angry at me. He was like, "Yeah, you don't care." And like he hung up actually. I'm like, did you just hang up at me? I wrote it. But yeah, like I can't do anything now. I can't freak out. Like, somebody stole my credit card and bought 100 of things on Amazon. Let me just freak out now and call the bank. Like I'm at an expo, I'm doing something. Let me see if it's been stolen. Okay, let's call the bank, said like, hey, this card has been stolen. Like just, I don't know. Just can't freak out because things happen all the time.
I love that. That's great advice.
Maybe just living in Mexico in general makes it like that.
Eric, do you have any final questions, comments?
Yeah. So when you're working with food, what's the waste? Like, do you have a lot of waste, like wasted product?
Yes,
yeah.
Too much. Unfortunately, too much. This is like another thing. I think we last year I was in Russia for 2 months traveling with my daughter and visiting my family. And when I was away, so many things happened. I don't even want to tell you. Like they sold so much product to a client, like too much, 10 times more than normal. They were very happy about it. I had a new salesperson who's like, I sold 10 trailers to this client. I'm like, do you know it's a perishable product? Like it won't sell in the 3 months. It has a 3 months shelf life. So like it won't sell in 3 months in these stores, like you have to like measure and like what is my biggest client selling, and he sold like 10 times more than this. I'm like, don't sell, maybe twice you could sell, but this is like ridiculous deal he did. Of course, what happened is the client discounted all the money from me. He's like, oops, sorry, the product didn't get sold. I knew it wouldn't get sold. I would never make the sale if I was doing the sale. But I was on vacation in Russia with my small daughter, like visiting my family, traveling. So I wasn't paying attention. So now it was a big amount of money. I don't want to say it on the podcast, but it's like ridiculous. So I couldn't freak out. I was like, that's ridiculous. This guy doesn't work anymore, obviously. But, and then when we produce, we throw a lot of product. Yeah, like a lot. I don't want to say number, but like in January, a lot. In February, much less, because I told and last year a lot. We were also changing equipment and like changing different things. I'm always making things better. But in the process of making it better, people learn and make mistakes. And like I said, kefir is so difficult. Like if you change 1 degree, it will have a different, like if it's cold outside, if it's a rainy day, if the atmospheric pressure is too high, they ferment differently. They're live. They behave differently all the time. The bacteria.
That was a great question. And
Thank you, Sam.
well, and then the shelf life, that I'm like, man, this is complicated. Like this, you are juggling a lot of different things to keep this thing going. So like you said, even if someone wanted to try to copy what you're doing, it's like, good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Go for it.
Exactly.
Try
it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's true. Like, I think so. I think maybe because I had like a anxiety problem very strong one, like 2 years ago, I think. And now I have the need to do vipassana meditation. And I think I need to spend like a lot of time just like meditating. I think I need so much of it because I think there's like so much stress that maybe I don't see it because I've been in this for so long. Maybe I just disconnect. But there's the money is being lost all the time. Like at the end of the month, we just say how much money we lost on this and like how much product was thrown away and stuff like this. So yes, I mean, it will get better, but it's still like this. Yeah, a little bit.
No, I love it. And one final question I have is what, I know we talked about delegation, but what is it that you're able to delegate and manage and handle all this? What quality, is it something you've always had even before you did this? Is it something you developed while you started the company? Your just ability to be a CEO, I guess. Has that always been in you? And now you're really getting to exercise those skills, or is this something that you just happened?
Yeah, I think it's always been in me. Like I always knew, like I feel very comfortable speaking with people, brainstorming ideas, and like defining what is my responsibility, what is the other person's responsibility. Like I'm very good at, like I'm very creative, and I don't just create things I see. Maybe ADHD, like I see, we have a very smart brain, like I can see exactly how it's going to be done. Like I think about 10 things and I know what I want, and I know how they're going to be done at the same time. So my problem is maybe it's difficult still for me to explain to people exactly what I want and make them do what I want them to do, like the way I want it to be done, because I always know how things have to be done in like the correct way. And people, if it's just too much time to explain to everyone. So I don't do it. I just do this and this and this and this, and you do this. So they do it how they know how to, they do it how they know to do it. But I know a better way to do it. So I just have to maybe sometimes let things go, because if you control too much and like do this and this way and blah, 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 it's just too much of my mental energy and time. So I need to like relax and control less. So it's a conflict. Like I do delegate everything, but I have this control because like if it's not done the right way, like I need them to redo it. So sometimes I guess I don't even know. So for example, logistics, for many years, I didn't even go into logistics. I didn't know what was going on in logistics, because every time I stepped in and like, what's going on? They're making so many mistakes. We're not delivering on time, blah, blah, blah. And there's so many things. So my head blows up. So sometimes I delegate, I know it's done. Company exists, the product is delivered, so I just do it how you know how to do it. But if I step in closer, like I want to make things better, and I do it. So I think I'm doing it now in many areas of the company, but I need to relax a little bit.
And what's your hiring process like when you're looking for talent, or how do you know when you have the right person for the job?
It's so complicated.
Probably a whole other podcast we could do.
It's like I think it's like the most complicated thing. It's so complicated. I don't know how to do it. I've made many mistakes, like hiring people, and for me it's very difficult to fire people. It's another problem. I should work on it, because I know somebody's not working on the company. I'm like, oh no, I need to hire. hire another person, teach another person how to do it. It's like so much time. So maybe I'll teach this person, like push him a little bit. Sometimes it's a good idea, like to grow people inside the company, but sometimes you really need to get rid of people who are not working. So I'm still not very good at it. I might have had people who are not working who are not good for the company for too long. I might have fired somebody who I could have, taught to be better. So I'm not very good at this. I think this is my like Achilles heel. Yeah.
You have strengths and delegation and vision, but
Yeah.
maybe something that could be worked on is, just the hiring process and when to fire. And
yeah.
you're dealing with people. I mean, you care, right? Like, so it can be very complicated.
And like, I'm so empathetic. Like I could be a psychologist or a therapist. Like I like to listen to people. I notice like every facial movement. I feel people. Like I feel what they feel.
You're very observant. Like
so somebody
you don't miss anything. You're like you.
yeah. But like I feel sad. Like if somebody said I want to help him, and I want to help people. So like especially women. So like when they're women and like they're not doing a good job, but then like they're single mother. I'm like, oh man, like I want her to be happy. I want her to thrive. I want her to to have the life she wants to do. I want to help her because it's like in my heart. But then if you think about owning a business, you have to be a bitch. You have to be cold-hearted because people are just things in your company and have their own place. They have to do their function. So this is like difficult for me to understand. Like the function is this, and the human being is another person. So I see them as human beings, and sometimes maybe it's not correct. Other successful entrepreneurs were more harsh.
I told you I was reading the Jobs book, and it's funny you bring that up.
Jobs.
Because you remind me of Steve Jobs a little bit, because he was all about the product first, not the money. Like he's like, no, we're making the perfect product. And he was obsessed with every detail on it. And he talks about when he was reflecting toward the end of his life, because he was known to be ruthless, fire people like crazy, yell at them, cuss at them, whatever. But he got the best out of a lot of them. Like he pushed people to limits they didn't know what they were capable of. And he also said, did I feel bad sometimes? And I'm paraphrasing it, firing some people when I did. Yeah. But he realized that I was the only one that was going to do it. I was the CEO. Like, if I don't do this, no one else is going to step in, and it's up to me. Like, this is my company. I have to make these decisions, even though they're really hard. I have to think what is best for, and that's an Achilles heel for me too. Like when it comes to that type of thing, because emotions come into play too.
Yeah.
So I'm very impressed with hearing even more of your story, the product. Thank you for coming here, and
thank you for having me. It's been so much fun, actually.
Yeah, no,
like much more fun than I expected.
Hey, I'm telling you, when we got pictures falling down and I start breaking a sweat, no, we're in for a ride here. So
yeah.
I always give the last word. I'll do that here in a sec. So where can people find you? Where can they find the company if they want to get more information, if they are traveling to Mexico and they want to buy the product? Where can all the people go on social media, your website, all of that?
I'm reading it. So it's www.marusiatienda.com. Oh my God, I'm going to change it to English. But tienda means store in Spanish. So let's just do this. At Kefir Marusia is my Instagram, and from Instagram you can get like links to our website and stuff like this. And if you are in Mexico, you can definitely get it in Walmart and Chedraui Selecto and City Market, which is my favorite, super beautiful store, and Fresh Market. Basically in pretty much most stores that are retail stores that are in nice areas. Actually, on our website, you can find it. But if they're listening and not watching, www.marusiatienda.com.
Okay. If they go to the Instagram, they can just go to the link, and that's going to take them.
Yeah, it's better to find us on Instagram. Easier, and we have a lot of information about how to take the kefir, how to drink, and stuff like this.
Okay.
Whole general more content. So awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me. It has been so much fun. Like I like your questions, and it made me think, and it made me reflect a lot.
Well, likewise, thank you for coming here and going through the 5 traffic from Anaheim during rush hour
Yes, yeah,
to come to North Hollywood.
it was definitely worth it.
As,
Don't be mad if it wasn't.
No, I'm really impressed by you, your company, and I'm really excited for you where you're going to take this thing. I mean, you've already taken it so far.
Yes.
You're already in the minority of
Yeah,
business owners and entrepreneurs. You're
it's true.
onward and upward. So I always give the guests the last word. You've already given us so much. It can be as short or as long as you want it to be. It can be serious. It can be funny. How would you like to end this podcast?
I would like you to try authentic kefir. Kefir Marusia, obviously. You could probably buy it in Malibu, California, at a place where Sam can post later. And I want you to feel the effect of the product. I really want everybody to experience having a good digestion. I think a lot of people have never experienced good digestion in their lives. They're like used to having bad digestion, to to take antacids after food, which is so common. Like so many people do that. But if you have a good microbiome, you don't need that. Like I never need anything. But when I had bad digestive system, I used to take them. Like I discovered a whole world of supplement, or a whole world of pills that people take in order to feel better, that I didn't even know existed. I even had pills to go to the bathroom better, like weird things. So yeah, my wish is for you to try what it feels like when you have perfect digestive system. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the Sam Dever podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@the Sam Dever podcast, and give us a follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. See you soon.